Yo! Welcome to a brand new movie review. I was gonna do this as a mini movie review, but then I realized that this movie is absolutely amazing, and I need to make it. It's gonna be longer than a minute or a minute and a half, so it's obviously gonna be like a regular one, not a mini movie review. Today's movie is Ultraman Rising. This is a kind of sort of brand new movie on Netflix. I just now got Netflix back in the house, so I just now watched it. This movie is absolutely amazing. It gives you basically everything you would want for an Ultraman type of thing. It has a lot of cool references. My favorite reference is every time Ultraman gets really angry and goes in for a punch, it has the Ultra Q swirls behind him. Oh my god, that was a tongue twister for some reason. The Ultra Q twirls behind him. If you don't know what Ultra Q is, that was the series made before Ultraman came out. It's basically a Japanese sci-fi only type of Twilight Zone with anthology stories, basically. And one of them was Ultraman, and then Ultraman came out. So it's the Ultra Q series, and then Ultraman came out after. Ultra Q is actually really good of what I've seen of it. Yeah, some of the episodes are free on YouTube, and I'm sure there are other less reputable sources to find it. Jesus, I don't know. I'm talking about piracy, brothers. I'm talking about piracy, okay? But yeah, that was basically my favorite little nod to the original series. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what I know about Ultraman. I have seen, I think, all of the Ultraman 60 series. I've seen a little bit of Ultraman Q. I've seen a little bit of Ultraman Tiga. I watched that after I watched like one episode before Gigabash had the Ultraman DLC, but then I watched some more after. All of them are on like Roku and Tubi, so I could watch them at some point. I probably will. I definitely will. I loved the 60 series. I watched it whenever I was a kid. There's a little girl in this that runs around like dressed as Ultraman, and it's adorable. And that is basically how I was whenever I was a kid with Ultraman. I used to watch it like every day, the first season at least every day. Whenever we didn't have internet or whatever, and I was just watching stuff on my PlayStation 3. Yeah, I would watch either that or Gamera. Yeah, I was that kid. But, yeah, this is a really, really good movie. I was expecting a good story and some cool nods to the, original series and other series throughout, but, I got way more. This is a amazing story. It's basically Kin is the Ultraman in this, and he has to take it over for his father, who they are very estranged, basically, and then they slowly grow to actually respect and love each other again. He tries to protect a kaiju that's being attacked by the kaiju defense force, and they kill the kaiju, and then they were trying to get the baby kaiju, which he adopts and slowly becomes like an actual father figure to. It's really cute. And then teaches it baseball, does a whole bunch of stuff with it. And then it goes into a pupa, which, if you don't know, is a huge thing in kaiju movies, especially with Mothra and stuff, and I thought that was sick. And then it came out evolved with wings and everything. The main monster was called the Gigantron? No. That was the first one they fought. I can't remember what it was called, but the kaiju that is the mother of the baby kaiju is one of the coolest kaiju ever, especially whenever it gets mechanized later. That's actually really sad because it gets mechanized because of the villain wanting to kill all the kaiju. I guess I should go ahead and talk about the villain, because closer to the end, the villain actually becomes way bigger in the story and is actually one of my favorite human villains in all of kaiju history, I think, now, just because of how good the story is. The actual reason he wants to kill all of the kaiju is a little bit normal. It's really normal for villains. It's just the kaiju that they were about to kill to kidnap the baby kaiju killed his family, and he blames Ultraman and all of kaiju, the kaiju species. So he is attempting to kill every single kaiju by going to Kaiju Island. I do not think that is from any of the Ultraman series. I know it's not from Ultraman 66 or whatever, whenever the 60 series came out. So that is a new thing for this, I think, and I really like it, honestly, just with the everything that it brings. We never get to see Kaiju Island, but it's just a cool concept in general that there's a little place, kind of like Skull Island, basically, for them. So yeah, he is trying to use the baby to get there and then kill all the kaiju. The villain all the way through seems like really stereotypical and everything. He never he runs the kaiju defense force, and he never forces any of his men to do anything or anything like that. So he is he's a good guy with bad intentions, I guess. And even his intentions, like his wife and daughter were killed by kaiju, so it makes sense for him to want to kill them all. The kaiju defense force, they say, started out as just a, protect them and everything, but they slowly turned into basically just kill kaiju on sight. And it's really interesting to see a villain that you can actually see where they're coming from, and you kind of root for in the beginning, but then you see that, oh, okay, yeah, he is actually just trying to kill all of an entire species in a pretty evil way by using one of their babies and mind controlling the mother of that baby to kill Ultraman. So yeah, you understand where he's coming from, and you kind of sympathize with him through all of it, but you also understand that he's not a good guy. He's definitely a bad guy in this. He is a villain, but he's a sympathetic villain, which is really good for any movie, honestly. But I'm glad they went with the sympathetic villain instead of just a mustache twirling evil villain. And one of my favorite parts with his character, at least, was him telling them all to use the escape pods before he fights Ultraman and the kaiju, the two kaiju, because he doesn't want any of them to get hurt. He wants the kaiju defense force to survive, even if he doesn't. And he knows for a fact that he is not going to live. Like, he knows he's going to have to bust out the old self-destruct, some Dr. Doofenshmirtz type of behavior right there, but he does understand that he's probably going to die, so he tells them to leave, and they escape. There's a really cool scene where Ken is in Ultraman form, and so is his father, and Ken just goes, oh, is this the part where the villain reveals that he has even more power, and it's all of the escape pods leaving, and it looks like missiles, and Ken's dad is just like, no, those are the escape pods, and they're both just like, oh no, something's happening. And yeah, I don't know, it's just really good. There's another really sad part with the main villain where he's fighting Ultraman and he goes, I believed in you, I trusted you to protect my family, and then he cripples him. He just stomps right on his leg. Well, I mean, obviously you're probably pretty confused by that because, the villain is a human. The ship that he's riding turns into a mech. I guess this is a good time for me to reveal all of the cool stuff that they show in this movie. We have regular kaiju. We have a Gamora appearance, which is absolutely amazing. If you don't know who that is, it's Ultraman kaiju that shows up a lot. Gamora is really cool. I think Red King showed up in it in like a little scene. I'm pretty sure that's who that was. Tell me if it wasn't. There's probably videos on here that actually go through all of the Easter eggs and stuff, but I can't do that because I only know the 60 series and a little bit of Tiga. But, yeah. Gamora, I think the Red King shows up. No alien Baltan, which really made me sad. It seems like this one is less aliens and more, like, regular creatures that came from Earth, kind of more Monsterverse than actual regular Ultraman where it's aliens and stuff. They never even explain whether Ultraman is his normal self, where it's like from the star, or whatever. Yeah, my knowledge on his actual origins are a little bit iffy, honestly. But yeah, it never really explains any of that. It's just like, Ultraman exists, and let's get into the world. And I really like that, because an origin story would be cool, but I think this was absolutely the best call. Back to, what I was talking about with all the cool stuff that shows up. We have regular kaiju, we have mecha kaijus, which, if you don't know, mecha kaijus are a huge thing in any kaiju movie or franchise or anything. Just mecha anything is really cool. And then we have the ship mecha, which is actually really, really cool. It has a whole bunch of weapons and everything. This movie is sad in a lot of the parts. I actually got teary-eyed in a few of the parts because it's sad, honestly. there are a lot of really good parts with all of the characters. All of the characters are actually really good. There's a character arc with Ken where he's basically a showboat that doesn't believe he needs anyone else's help, but he eventually accepts his father's help and the AI and the artificial intelligence sphere thing that helps him, which is a really cool character. I think I like that character, and realizes that having a team can help, and he basically helps train his baseball team because he's a part of baseball. I don't know if I actually explained that or not, but yeah, he is. He helps them, and then they end up carrying the team with his help. Like, he doesn't have to carry everything by himself, and it's a really cool. I don't know. I just think that's really cool with this movie. It's basically just a little character arc for him. The dad has kind of a character arc too, where he basically explains to him that it's hard being Ultraman because you never know whether you're going to survive or not in a battle, and worrying about everyone that you could save or whether you can or not save them is really stressful and everything, which, I mean, yeah, obviously. But yeah, everyone has a little character arc, kind of. All the characters are cool, though. Honestly, this movie is really, really good. This is an amazing movie. Netflix has been doing some cool stuff with Ultraman anyways. The series, I watched a little bit of the series before we got rid of Netflix, and I absolutely loved that series. I might do a rewatch of all of it, all of the first season, and do a season-by-season review. I might do that for Gamma Rebirth too, since I have Netflix again. But yeah, this is a really, really good movie. Like, I'm talking one of my favorites, actually. And that, man, I haven't even brought up the animation. I've been stuck on characters and story and everything, but the animation is absolutely beautiful in this movie. It kind of reminds me of Into the Spider-Verse, which, I mean, everyone says that about basically any animation style that they don't really know how to define, but this is kind of like that, but not really. There are a few scenes that go into that type of animation, but this is all its own, it seems like, to me at least. Some of my favorite scenes is whenever the Ultramen get, like, rain on them and stuff. It looks so cool. They got the metallic look going, and it looks amazing. Oh, yeah, one of my favorite callbacks to the old series is the sound effects. There are actually really cool sound effects where whenever he grows tall and everything like that, he actually, like, does the wow, you know what I'm saying, the Ultraman scream type of thing, which I've always loved about Ultraman. They give him more of a human type of voice instead of like a monstrous or a robotic type of voice. It's more like a pitched up, echoey version of a human. And I think that's really cool. I loved that callback, especially at the very end. It shows like the entire how they used to film it in the original series, where he grows tall and he has his arms up and everything, and it's so sick. And then in the animation form, it's basically the same exact thing, except even cooler, because animation is the best. This is just an amazing movie, to be honest. This is, I think this might be the first movie review where I'm going to give something a 10 out of 10, maybe? I don't know, honestly. I think I reviewed The Thing, though, so no, it's not. But yeah, this movie is absolutely amazing. If you like kaiju in general, or mecha in general, basically if you like any of that type of stuff, or if you're just an Ultraman fan, you should definitely watch this. Yeah, this is a 10 out of 10, like, hands down. It's amazing. But yeah, that's the end of the movie review. Like, subscribe, tell me what your thoughts are on this movie, or Ultraman in general. Tell me if I missed any of the actual Easter eggs and stuff. I probably did, because, like I said, I haven't watched any of, well, much of them, other than the original series, and a little bit of Ultra Q, and a little bit of Ultraman Tiga. But there are so many Ultraman series that I don't think I could get to all of them, even if I wanted to. But yeah, you know, like, subscribe, tell me what your thoughts are on this movie, and see ya.